Hello and welcome to Love Your Practice, a free educational series powered by Therapy Partner. We're so pleased you could join us for today's webinar. It's a damn shame, Part 1, Loving Your Streamlined and Lucrative Private Pay Practice that Delivers Optimal Care. There are a lot of clinicians here on the line today, both current customers and new attendees, so welcome and thank you for joining us. Today's webinar is sponsored by Therapy Partners Love Your Practice. Therapy Partners' mission is to improve the industry and lives of clinicians by offering progressive technology, business education, and dedicated consultative support. We know that technology alone is not enough. That's why we offer dedicated support and a free comprehensive business of practice educational series, which includes practice building strategies, a podcast series, and these live educational webinars. Our webinar today is led by CEO Dr. Jessica Dolgan. I am your host, Sarah Sims, the Director of Business Development at Therapy Partner. Therapy Partner is the fastest growing practice management technology in the industry and has won an award for being among the top 10 best practice management solutions in the healthcare industry. Therapy Partner's intuitive technology streamlines all business of practice tasks, including scheduling, billing, progress notes, statements, revenue tracking, and more, all from your computer, tablet, or phone. Therapy Partner is committed to creating technology and education that empower your business, allowing you to focus on clinical care. 98% of clinicians that try Therapy Partner stay on board, and within their first year of adoption, their revenue is up 20%. Dr. Dolgan is the founder and CEO of Therapy Partner. She's a national business consultant and continuing education provider. Dr. Dolgan also has a thriving private pay group practice in Denver, Colorado. Dr. Dolgan and the entire Therapy Partner team are a specialized group of professionals committed to pioneering powerful industry-based technology, education, and support services to empower private practitioners. We know that clinicians every day throughout the country help clients lead inspired lives. At Therapy Partner, we're driven to empower you, the clinician, to love the business side of your business. By providing you with intuitive technology, free business of practice education, and dedicated support, we ensure you thrive. For a limited time, for attending today's webinar, you will receive a dedicated, personalized consultation, a free 2-month no-obligation trial of Therapy Partners practice management technology, and a copy of today's webinar. You can take advantage of this offer by clicking on the link in the GoToWebinar chat feature or visiting www.therapypartner.com/education/event. Please note this extended free trial is only available to registered attendees for a limited time. Dr. Dolgan is known for providing content-heavy presentations. She will be moving very quickly, and the PowerPoint presentation is also very detailed. So we're going to be giving you the webinar content via email, or you can also download a PDF copy of the webinar directly from the GoToWebinar panel. This is to ensure you can simply relax, listen, and learn today without the need to take notes. Please note this webinar is part 1 of a 2-part webinar, so look for the invitation via email to register for part 2. If you cannot attend part 2 live, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and register, as we will be recording the webinar and sending it out to everyone that registered. So without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Jessica Dolgan. Jessica?
Well, thank you, Sarah, and thank you to everybody who's on the line today. Per usual, we have prospective customers on today's webinar, as well as current customers. The Love Your Practice webinars have become, I hear, some of the most attended national educational events in our industry. So, per usual, I just want to express my gratitude to everybody who took the time out of their clinical day, out of their life today to be part of today's webinar. I really enjoy this opportunity to connect. Always want to remind people that the intent behind Love Your Practice was really to build a community for clinicians around the country where you can receive inspiration, wisdom, business of practice, education, and support. Love Your Practice, of course, is connected to Therapy Partner, our practice management technology, and all of our educational materials are free with your Therapy Partner account. So we hope that you'll take time to check out the practice management technology as well, since you're entitled to a 60-day free trial of the product. And also, I want to just restate something Sarah mentioned, which is our webinars tend to be packed with content. I move really quickly. I previously have gone to continuing education classes myself as a clinician, where I find myself sitting there trying to take notes, trying to listen to the speaker, and get home and find myself kind of frazzled and without very much content at all. So we'd really like you to sit back and listen, just spend some time with the material today. Connecting and really trying to think about your practice, and later you receive a copy of this webinar, and hopefully you'll revisit it when you have a moment. I also want to just congratulate everybody who came today for taking the time to carve out a moment in your life, in your business day, in your clinical day, to focus on business development. Today's webinar, obviously has a provocative title, It's a Damn Shame, Accepting and Loving Your Streamlined, Lucrative, and Progressive Private Pay Practice that Delivers Optimal Clinical Care. The reason I titled it, It's a Damn Shame, is ultimately, I think many people on the line can concur that it has become a damn shame that clinicians around this country, master's level clinicians, doctors, psychiatrists, that there has been some industry shame associated with having a lucrative business. And the truth of the matter is that at Love Your Practice, we truly believe that great, streamlined, optimal businesses provide the most optimal clinical care. If you have a great business that you love, that's lucrative, that serves the customers that you are the most passionate about treating, things are going to go well. There have been a lot of myths and shame handed down in our industry for years regarding really having a successful business. I think clinicians have not always been encouraged, whether all the way from graduate school or beyond, to think about multiple streams of revenue, to think about how to grow their business, to think about how to grow their brand, to be self-promoting, to even consider money, to use business plans or financial plans. And we'd really like to call it. We'd like to ask the industry to consider taking on a different approach to business. Your practice is your business. It's your livelihood. Your families and your children and your community depend on you, and you depend on you. And running a successful business involves really understanding the way in which you make money, the market you serve, the brand that you bring to the community, and it also involves really understanding how to optimally run a business to get the most revenue out of it. So the subline, of course, was this is a webinar for clinicians that are ready to engage revenue-boosting initiatives to drive guilt-free earnings to their practice. If you're somebody on the line who feels like you still have a lot of shame and guilt around earnings in this industry, that's very reasonable, and I would really encourage you to maybe consider taking one of our other webinars. We have one called Fire Your Worst Enemy that is an hour-long webinar just targeted at how we overcome money shame issues. There are a lot of people on the line today who have already kind of worked through some of this psychologically and are really ready to understand exactly what strategies would help them to be most successful in business. Obviously, there are a lot of strategies that one could implement to grow your business, grow your practice, and drive money to the bottom line. But I have identified 4 very specific strategies that I'd like to go over with you today. So, as you saw in the course description, this is a course that is going to talk about money in private practice boldly, and hopefully without shame or guilt. I like to say we're clinicians, we're not saints. So earning a great living doesn't hinder the process of providing quality clinical care. It actually can enhance it. So this webinar is really targeted at those of you on the line that are really wanting to break away from industry constraints with the explicit intention of creating an optimal, well-regarded, safe, streamlined, client-centric, lucrative, and above all, professionally satisfying clinical practice that also provides the highest quality of clinical care. These topics are connected. Running a great business and having optimal business procedures in place, a streamlined, great business, usually trickles down to quality clinical care. The clinicians that are most stressed about business also are struggling clinically. It's very, very hard to balance both of these. So this is a class about the business side of your business. Most clinicians I talk to are such talented people. They're empaths, they're intuitive, They're aware. We tend to be people who have good EQ. There's been a lot of literature that's been published in the last couple of years regarding the role of emotional intelligence in business. And what we've actually discovered, even though as a group we tend to be a little bit shy, we're not that self-promoting, often we're a little bit isolated. What we have actually discovered is that people with high emotional intelligence are very good business owners. They're very good leaders, and they are able to craft and cultivate a brand in a way that is better than people who have other skill sets. So if you're somebody who's sitting there thinking, I wonder if this is for me, I wonder if I can actually pull this off, the truth of the matter is you can't. It's really about scaling our skill set outside of the clinical room. The individuals that I talk to, the clinicians that I talk to around the country, such talented, kind, engaging, sensitive, insightful individuals. So if we can take that same skill set and your curiosity and desire to learn about people and apply it to learning about business, everybody on the line's really, really going to get pretty far. The truth of the matter is there's plenty of room in the marketplace for great clinical practices. So also, I want to just highlight that this is not a class for clinicians that only want to serve the wealthy. This is one of the myths in our industry that has been trickled down for years. If you make good money in practice, somehow there's an impression that you only serve the wealthy. This could not be further from the truth. This is a course for clinicians that believe that a great business earns more. And great businesses that earn more can effectively extend their reach to intentionally serve everyone in need. What's the old adage? You can't give what you don't have. So if your business is streamlined and functioning optimally, it's really going to put you in a position to develop an organized methodology for providing scholarship-based services. I use that phrase instead of sliding scale services for clientele. So that you can really serve people in need as well. This is not a class for people who just want to be wealthy and only serve the wealthy. There is no shame in running a great lucrative business. In fact, it puts you in position to really serve your community. So we're going to dive into this topic by broadly getting into 4 strategies. Strategy number 1 is going to be about how to audit your current business to streamline operations and maximize your revenue. The second strategy is going to involve creating a practice vision and a concrete plan to achieve the results you actually desire most. Third strategy is how to understand your current market approach and your brand. What have you done to cultivate your niche expertise, and how is your brand being carried across in the community? This is directly tied to earnings. The fourth strategy is how to implement revenue boosting tools, how to utilize key metrics and initiatives to drive profitability, contain your expenses, and to design a practice that you love. So an optimal practice is really delivered through abandoning all of our limiting belief sets about money, receiving business of practice education. You're here today, so you're already there, and really putting together an intentional plan that puts you on a course to have an optimal practice and to serve patients optimally. So let's just jump right in. As I said, there's a lot of items to cover. Please sit back, enjoy it, listen, take this webinar, copy later, and spend some time with it yourself, personally reading it again, perhaps listening to the recording again. And also, please take us up on your dedicated, personalized business consultation that you receive for participating today. I think clinicians get great value out of connecting with our team and really talking about their particular practice and their particular practice needs. So let's just go over a few of the belief sets that I would like us as a group to collectively put in our mind and then try to abandon. If we think about where we might have heard these, at some point, everybody on the line has heard one of these myths somewhere. You've heard it from a supervisor, you've heard it from, colleagues, perhaps we've read it in an industry journal even, but I'd like to just run through them. And then what we're going to do is put a box around them, as we would ask patients to do around particular items. We're going to try to get some containment on this and move it aside so that we can really open ourselves to the potential of learning new strategies and techniques that can drive profit to our business. So let's just run through them. We all know what they are. They're right up there in front of you at the screen. Number 1, public service and health agents shouldn't be paid well. Not true. That is not true. I went into clinical psychology for patients, not the money. I think we can abandon this one. I think you can be there for patients, and I think you can be there because you want to earn a good living, and more importantly, even you want to have a whole lifestyle. You want to have a great lifestyle where you can spend the quality of time that you need with family, with friends, with yourself, with patients. So you could be in this profession both for the lifestyle and for the money and for patients. There's an expectation that we're not business savvy and that we're not interested in developing client-centric, streamlined businesses. The truth of the matter is this must be fundamentally false, because the webinars that we run that provide business training for clinicians are the most attended webinars nationwide. Sometimes there's 700, 900 people on the line at a time who are wanting this education. We are interested in business. We did not receive the business education that we need in graduate school. That does not mean that we don't have the interest, and it doesn't mean we don't have the skill set. You might not know the strategies and techniques to deploy, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the cognitive capacity to learn them. So I'd love to just abandon that. Self-promotion is unacceptable, and it doesn't accurately reflect clinicians, or it cheapens our profession. Not true at all. The community is out there in need, struggling, suffering, and looking for experts. When our family members are suffering, our children are suffering, something has gone on and we need help, we get right on the computer and we start looking for experts. Or we call the people that we trust most and we look for expertise. You cannot find an expert if someone will not promote their brand. This is the way that the public finds people now. They look on their phone, they look on the internet, they look for your profile directory listing, they look for your website. They hear about you from an optimal referral source, and your marketing materials need to reflect who you are. And that does not mean that you need to be shameless in your self-promotion. But there is nothing wrong with some self-promotion. Self-promotion drives the correct clientele to your business. It's not a shaming activity. Pursuing areas of specialization or expertise is dangerous. I hear a lot of clinicians telling me that they feel like they need to maintain a role as a generalist. It's not true. You do not need to be a generalist. In fact, experts get paid more. The public knows how to find an expert more. They use key search phrases when they're searching online or looking for profile directory listings. They're asking friends. Rarely do we call someone and say, do you have a good therapist? Do you have a good pediatrician? Or we ask on the whole for a specialist. Do you have a great OBGYN who specializes in infertility? We always ask about the expertise. And I want people to be having that conversation about you. Yes, they're going to talk to each other and ask if they know of a good therapist, but they're usually going to say who specializes in anxiety or who specifically treats children of divorce. There are people on the line who have that expertise. So pursuing areas of specialization not only isn't dangerous, it's lucrative. Professional precedent is not impacted by the way my practice operates or is streamlined for patient access or convenience. The days of running a poorly streamlined, poorly operated practice have to be over. The public is very aware of the way they want to interact with clinicians, and they expect scheduling to be easy, billing to be streamlined, statements to show up in their email that are automated and encrypted and password protected and ready for insurance reimbursement. They want to access your office in a client-centric way, and they do have the expectation that you set a professional precedent by having an easy business to access. Also, having a streamlined business, above all, serves you. It serves patients, but above all, it serves you because it cuts down on administrative time and it puts you in position to do things like you're doing today, which is focus on business development. Too many clinicians spend time administrating their practice, and we're going to get into that in a moment. But really, really considering what your highest and best use. If you get nothing from today's webinar other than that, what is my highest and best use? Where should I be spending my time? How do I want to be spending my time? Everybody on the line is worth north of $100, $150 per hour. And if you are spending time on needless administration or minimizing to yourself that does not have a financial impact or an emotional impact on your business, I'd like you to try to put that aside. Well-optimized, streamlined businesses that administrate properly and allow patients to access them easily increase revenue by 20% within the first year, and I'll tell you exactly how to get there. Ethical and legal liability is not related to the manner in which I run my business. Not true. We are in a very sensitive business. It is our job to protect financial data and healthcare data. And not only healthcare data, mental healthcare data. There could not be a more sensitive profession for us to be in. So containing your ethical and legal liability by having good practice administrative procedures is a must. And ethical and legal liability does affect the way you run your business. Far too often, really great, amazing clinicians are grieved for silly things. The number one grievable offense is a breach of confidentiality. And I can assure you, in almost 98% of those cases, the clinician did not set out to breach a patient's confidentiality. It happened accidentally by poor record keeping, losing track of a desktop computer, losing files, breaching somebody's financial information by having poorly managed checks or credit card information. This is how this happens. Sending text message reminders that aren't through a secure portal. This is how this happens. It's by accident. We don't do this on purpose, but there are ways we can protect ourselves so we don't have to be anxious. And when we're not anxious, we can focus on growing our business. So optimal referral sources and clientele are not something I can pursue. Not true. Starting right now, I want all of us to think about who is your optimal patient. This is the person that you love seeing during the day. So as a clinician myself, the way that I got there was, well, I saw 10 people today, but 2 or 3 of these patients I loved seeing. That is your optimal client. You have to tune your ear into the needs of the community and first ask yourself, do I have an expertise that the community needs? Is the specific type of work that I offer needed in the community? And if the answer is yes, pushing forward that expertise and branding your business around that expertise is really, really important. It is possible for you to see the types of clients that you want to see most all day long. And it's also possible for you to build relationships with optimal referral sources so that the best referral sources in town are sending you the types of patients you love to see. When we are in our passion, abundance follows. Next item, I can't exactly determine or plan how to make a set amount of income. Not true. Just because we weren't trained to do business planning doesn't mean that we are not capable. Most people here wrote theses or dissertations. We've sat in hours of classes, continuing education. We're bright enough to build a business plan. And this business plan doesn't need to be an executive summary that gets sent to a private equity group or submitted to your bank. This is for you. This is a business plan for you around how you want your business to run and what you want your earnings to be, and you deserve that. I don't expect to make money, passive income, or to have a retirement or exit strategy. This one really makes me upset for clinicians. You absolutely deserve to make money sitting in your clinical chair, but that is not a limitation. I do not believe that clinicians should have a ceiling specifically on what they can earn based on the amount of clinical hours they can rack up in a week. If you would like to develop a passive stream of revenue, even if that's something as simple as adding another associate to your practice or writing an ebook and selling it online, you are entitled to passive income like everybody else. And you are entitled to a retirement and exit strategy. After serving your community for 20s of years, hour by hour, working with patients, helping the community to heal, and putting forth, really a soul venture, which is what I think that clinical work is. We do this because we really want to heal patients. We're healers. And after doing all of that work and providing all of that assistance to so many patients, of course you deserve an exit strategy and a retirement strategy. So I'd like you to put that aside as well if you're in that place in your career, that myth. And lastly, I don't have the business skill or capacity to run an exceptional business. If you are on the line today and you still feel like that, I'm not surprised. Not only were we told we don't know how to run a business, we were also told we don't have the capacity, that somehow being emotionally intelligent individuals or individuals that would move toward a healing profession somehow makes us not eligible for also running a great business. And I actually think clinicians have the heart, soul, emotional wherewithal, organizational capacity, and analytic reasoning actually to run exceptional businesses. So just as we ask patients to take risks and to push into feelings of discomfort, during today's webinar for the rest of this time, let's really work and moving forward to leave all these perceptions behind. They've been damaging to our industry. They've been damaging to our professional and personal satisfaction as clinicians. And ultimately, I truly believe that when we're not running an optimal business, it can impact the quality of care that we provide to patients. So let's jump right into strategy number 1, which is how to audit your business. There's a quote right up here: the distance between your dreams and reality is called action. You know, I heard an interesting a podcast the other day where someone was reflecting on the intersection of reflection and action, and that this is where abundance occurs. And I really think that this is the case. There's a lot of you on the line today who've been reflecting about how to have a better business, but you don't necessarily know strategically how to get there. Then there are other people who are a little bit more action oriented. They take actions, they're stabbing at things, and good for you, but oftentimes they don't have they haven't taken the time to reflect on what the strategy is supposed to be creating by way of a result. So it's really empowering to view your business through the lens of your client. I always ask clinicians before they take on any new business development task to stop everything and start with how your business is currently running. Sometimes this sounds A, potentially boring to have to go through, and B, it feels, sometimes people get a little sensitive about this because we really have to take a hard look at the way we're operating our business first. But I'd like you to consider this as similar to building a extension to our home. So if you want to expand your home, the first thing that comes out is is a structural engineer comes out and assesses the foundation. And we take a look at the house, the foundation, and ensure that there is structural integrity so that you can add an addition to your home, add an extra bedroom, adjust the patio, do whatever you need to do. This is the same as your business. Once you streamline operations in your business and you audit your business, you will be able to grow your business. So think about this as our visit from the structural engineer to make sure that your business is in position to grow. Sometimes people implement these strategies and they're so successful that they actually start driving revenue to their practice, increased clientele, optimal referral sources. Their branding is working well. They're making more money, but they have not put the infrastructure in place in terms of administration of the business. And businesses can grow too quickly. If you put your mind to some of these tasks and strategies, you will grow your income and you will grow your brand recognition. It's really important to take a practice inventory and understand the way in which you're running your business first. So I want you to get started by reviewing these practice building areas and questions. And if you can, please put on the lens of a patient. So always good to think about the first moment that a patient hears about you. From the moment that a patient first experiences anything about you, whether it's from a referral source, from a past client that saw you, they found your website, they found marketing materials, someone gave them your business card, they heard you give a public lecture. From that moment, all the way through termination, I would like us to reflect on the way we manage our business. So we'll run through these. There's so many questions in here. This is an exercise in and of itself. I believe we have a webinar that's all on auditing your business. And there's also a quiz. So I'll run through these quickly, but these are very important. Again, if you try to build on infrastructure that's not stable, we're going to have problems. So marketing materials, let's just start with the beginning. What does your website look like? Your online listings, your business card? What does your intake paperwork reflect about your business, your expertise, your services, and your fees charged? We're also going to talk about money in a very detailed way in a few slides. So we'll get into this, but really reflecting, again, from the point of inception, the moment someone hears about you, they grab that business card, they jump online, take a look at your website, they go to your profile directory from goodtherapy.org or however they find you. What is their first impression of you? What is your patient and communication and management style? Please take some notes on how patients contact you. How do they schedule with you? How might they experience their first visit? How do they pay you? How do they receive communication from your business? This includes everything. What does your voicemail sound like? How do you send email? Do you send secure email and text messages to patients? What does your intake documentation look like? Does it feel good? Is it strong? Is there a welcome letter? How do patients pay for your services in a reasonable way? Are you pulling a Square reader out of your phone and trying to swipe cards in a session? Is there a credit card reader on your desk? Or have you done something to make it so that you can store their form of payment on file so that they can come in with a clean heart and a clean mind and really focus on their clinical care and not be worried about taking care of business inside of session? What have you done to streamline their experience of your practice? What resources do you provide your patients? On the whole, the best way to think about this is my process convenient? Is it client-centric? And does it set a professional precedent? Can people jump on and schedule an appointment with you online? Can they submit their intake documentation in a streamlined way to you? Can they show up for their first session and your paperwork or your welcome letter is lovely? How does your lobby look? Does it convey comfort? Does it convey your expertise? Are you storing a form of payment on file so they don't have to worry about paying you every single time they're there? Or if they should late cancel or no show, that you have a optimal streamlined way to bill them? Asking yourself these questions is important. There's a section here just on progressive billing management. Are you utilizing progressive and safe tools to bill for all services? Historically, it was much more unlikely for a therapist or clinician, psychologist, psychiatrist to have a grievance around a breach of confidentiality because we were not moving quite as quickly and we were not using as much technology. So I am going to ask everybody to really think about how you are keeping patient data safe and financial data. We deal with people's credit cards and their checks and their cash. What are you doing to streamline the process? Are you utilizing progressive, safe tools to bill for all services? So just running through the questions. How easy is your billing process and how does it manage varying appointment types? Can people be billed for consultation? Can they get an additional appointment easily or an emergency appointment? Can you easily bill for cancellations, no-shows, and emergencies? Are statements they receive for services secure, encrypted, for easy submission to insurance if you're private pay? How are your sliding scale requests managed? Are they not contained? Do you have a scholarship fund that's organized around specific patients who are in the most need getting the best help? Really honoring your environment. How does your physical space support who you are as a brand and your advertised expertise? So does the space really feel like you? And it doesn't need to look like everybody else's space. We are never successful in business trying to be like everybody else. We are successful in business putting forth our best brand for a market that needs our services. So is your environment inviting, comforting, inspiring in all directions? That doesn't have to mean costly. So that doesn't mean taking out a huge loan to refurnish your whole lobby or your office. This just really means reflecting on your space. Does the environment convey professionalism, trust, privacy, and support? Have you streamlined the patient process? All of us have learned how easy things can become. We book airline tickets in 2 seconds. We buy things on Amazon. We book massages online. We go to a dermatology appointment and get text message reminders. The world is becoming much more streamlined by way of technology, and patients have that expectation. Additionally, this can be really convenient for you and them. You can streamline the way you operate your business so that you can do what we're doing right now, which is think about how to grow your business. Practice management technology, big question. Is there a lot of chaos in your business, or have you streamlined things? Are you spinning plates constantly? Are you utilizing multiple devices and processes? Usually in advising services, one of the first questions I've asked clinicians historically is just to simply take down a list of the way that you manage your business. Write down how many tools it takes. If you are using a Square reader and you are using Intuit QuickBooks and you're using a Google Calendar and you're using a credit card machine, and you're revenue tracking in a different way or using separate accounting services, what have you done to streamline everything you're doing? So what systems and tools are you currently using in combination, and what is the cost? And when you look at costs, let's not just look at the cost of each one of the tools, let's look at your time. If it's taking you 5 hours to administrate your practice effectively across the year, you may be losing $8,000 to $10,000. So at your hourly rate. So we want you focused on clinical care, business development or business forward activities, things you would enjoy growing your business, or resting yourself and doing the things that you love most outside of business. So, are you utilizing a practice management system? Have you considered it? Are you securely communicating with your patients to keep your practice and your patients safe? How much time are you spending on administration and operations? How can this time and redundancy be reduced, freeing you up to engage in business development and or to create time for you to recharge? Last item, business operations versus business development. I talk about this all the time. Love to just give some clinicians education. When I first started running my practice, I didn't understand the difference between these two things. I thought anytime I was at my business, I was doing business development. Not true. Most of the time, I was just spinning plates, chasing paperwork around, driving to the bank, trying to calculate what I earned, trying to figure out how to earn what I needed to earn. This is operations. So I really want us to fundamentally understand the difference between business operations and business development time. And I would ask everybody in the audience, in the next 90 days to put aside some time for both. How do you manage your time and energy? It is so important. We talk to patients about this all the time. We ask them to reflect on the way in which they manage their time and their energy in life. So how much money and time is going towards practice administration? Have you allocated very specific, organized, block and tackle time to look at and reorganize your practice management processes with the intention of creating maximum efficiency, safety, and putting your practice in position to grow revenue? This is about adjusting your foundation. So we just talked about ways to audit your business. The best way to do this is to set dedicated operational time aside, 90-day period of time. You're like 2 hours every week. I'm going to look at the way in which I run my business, and I'm going to make a committed effort to adjusting my foundational approach to streamlining business for my patients to set a really great professional precedent and put myself in a position to add the addition, to grow my business, grow my reach. So have you also created space and time in your business for business development, including business and practice education? Obviously, everybody here has already made a little bit of time because you came to this class. So I'm very glad to have you here. And this is an indication to me that you already know that there's a value to spending very specific time on business development. We tell patients all the time that in which they put the most effort and intention toward is likely what they're going to get a result around. Our values being lined up with our behaviors is really, really important. And so asking yourself, what are my values and what are my business behaviors? If you value abundance and having a more lucrative business, are you spending specific time in business operations to streamline your business? And are you spending specific time on business development like you are here today each week so that you can grow your business? I truly believe that clinicians are so talented. I have seen individuals deploy very basic strategies to streamline their business and then some very basic strategies to grow their business. And they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled, or more their income quite easily. But this is all about intention, and it really does involve some discipline. It is not about having a very specific skill set. It's about receiving the right education and then carving out the time in your life to make sure it happens, and it will happen. I've seen it happen. This is why I do this for a living. It's really inspiring for me to see clinicians running great businesses, because I know in my heart that the more of us that are running amazing businesses, the more we are tackling the mental health issue. For me personally, I came at this by working with you all. I really believe that if we have a great business and the public comes to know us as people who have great businesses, we are trying to overcome the stigma of mental health, and we can help with that by running amazing businesses. When someone comes to our office and it's streamlined, easy to access, you're easy to communicate with, your paperwork is easy, they get billed in a really timely manner, and it's easy to pay you for your services. The work they get done with you is incredible. They feel better. We are serving the broader mental health community, and we are reducing the stigma associated with receiving mental health services. So lucrative practices like Good Houses have a solid foundation. We're going to stop using guess and check methodology with respect to running our business. The first thing you can do on this item, above all, is just to admit that perhaps you should not be administrating every part of your business. Consider utilizing practice management. Whatever practice management technology you use would be helpful. clinicians that utilize practice management and store a form of payment on file for patients earn 20% more within the first year of adoption using our technology. Something interesting for you to note, this is a statistic that runs across industries. So all businesses that store a form of payment on file out-earn businesses by 20% at least that don't. So if you are not streamlining the way in which people pay you, when you store a form of payment on file, people can come for more services. They don't have to think about paying you each time. You can bill for all of your services, consultations, late cancels, no shows, etc. So ask yourself, what do I need to do to get out of my own way? I don't need to be a one-man circus. I did not go to school to be a practice administrator. I'm not a healthcare administrator. There's an enormous amount of redundancy in healthcare. Get yourself out of the business of administrating your own practice as soon as possible. Put yourself in position to have a streamlined way that your business is run so that you can focus on growing it.
And we're going to have to stop there for now and invite you to attend part 2. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you everyone on the line for joining us today. Today's webinar was sponsored by Therapy Partner and led by CEO Dr. Jessica Dolgen. Please remember this webinar is just part 1 of a 2-part series, and we hope you will be able to join us for the second half of the webinar. There's a lot of content here. We had to divide it up into 2 webinars so we could get you all the information in a reasonable time frame. We will be sending out that invitation to you later today so you can register for part 2. Please do register even if the date and time does not work for you, because we will be recording it and sending out the recording link to everyone that registers so you can listen to it at a convenient time for you. We invite you to join the movement. Therapy Partner is the fastest growing practice management technology in the industry. Therapy Partner's intuitive technology streamlines all business of practice tasks, including scheduling, billing, progress notes, statements, revenue tracking, and more, all from your computer, tablet, or phone. Therapy Partner is committed to creating technology and education that empower your business, allowing you to focus on clinical care. Clinicians using Therapy Partner technology increase revenue 20% within the first year. For a limited time, for attending today's webinar, you will receive a free 45-minute business of practice consultation, a 2-month risk-free, no-obligation trial of Therapy Partner's practice management system, and a copy of today's webinar. Please note, this extended free trial is only available to registered attendees for a limited time. Just visit therapypartner.com/education/event to schedule your free business practice consultation. This link is also available to you in the GoToWebinar chat box, so you can just click and go to it from there as well. Dr. Dolgen and Therapy Partner understand that progressive technology, education, and personalized support create an optimal opportunity for you to thrive in practice. Thank you, Dr. Dolgen, and thank you all for attending today's webinar. We hope you enjoyed the course content and will join us for future webinars and educational opportunities, especially Part 2, which you are not going to want to miss, as it is rich with great business content that will help your practice thrive. At Therapy Partner, we are committed to providing the most progressive technology and education to help empower your practice. We hope to see you again here and have a wonderful day.